This is part 2 of our budget workshop, and it is on capital improvement program. So we are all present. We will start with public comments. No public comments. Public comment is over. Workshop items. Mark, capital improvement program fund.
Thank you, Mayor Salka. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Pleased to present to you our fiscal year 20 proposed CIP budget. So this presentation will be online this evening after the budget workshop. Tonight you're going to see some things a little different than we saw last year. I think I need to spend a little more time going over the entire program of really what it means, state code, state law, our planning process, and then dive into the budget. So just a few slides. For time's sake, though, I'm just going to dive right in. So a CIP, and for the record, and really on record, and through knowing we're on Facebook Live, our CIP program is a 5-year planning document. It provides a good blueprint for sustaining and improving our infrastructure, and we also coordinate through strategic planning the financial capacity and physical development of projects. So taking a step back, a CIP program, or our CIP, has 2 parts. The 5-year program, it's typically 5 years and it's revolving, and then the capital budget. The capital budget is the upcoming year's spending plan for those capital items. So state law. Planning Commission has the power and duty to prepare and recommend for adoption to Town Council the CIP program. There's no real criteria that we look for. So as we look through strategic planning, as we take a look at new projects, there's nothing really that mandates a review criteria as it relates to the CIP program per that 629-304. However, the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, these 6 criteria are criteria that we talk about at strategic planning, and we also talk a lot about at a staff level. So is the project needed to meet federal mandates? What's the project cost and impact to our operating budget? Will the project improve health, safety, welfare for the residents in a measurable way? Does the project reduce pollution levels or ensure community values are being achieved, such as May River initiatives? Does the project promote economic vitality? And/or are there advantages from this project which benefit other projects? And so that could be another public project. It could also be a private investment. So as we look at capital projects, we look at our strategic plan, and all those plans you see up there, really driven by our strat plan, our action agenda, as well as our comprehensive plan. You see that the May River Watershed Sewer Master Plan is up on that screen, and it's a guiding document built in conjunction with Beaufort Jasper, and so on and so forth. And the last one, project maintenance improvement needs assessments. So we review the needs and available funding sources. We consider prioritization of projects at strategic planning. We bring to Planning Commission. And then tonight, number 5, Town Council consideration and approval during annual fiscal year consolidated budget workshop. And then number 6, I guess, is the harder and fun part. Get to work, right? Planning, design, community engagement workshops, our quarterly workshops, our special workshops, acquisition, permitting, and then as we take the project into our ownership of asset and maintenance long term. So I don't need to dive into this right now, but for the presentation and what will be available online, those are live links up here. So if I wanted to click on a live link, it goes straight to the story map on our website. It goes straight to an overview of current projects, our project map, which I'll show you, our fiscal year 20 budget, and then a 5-year project listing. So all those are available on our website, but this presentation provides quick and easy access to those links. So tonight, we're here to talk about all projects greater than 5,000, except for roads, buildings, software, and those thresholds are 50,000. Funding sources, I showed a little bit of this at first reading, but you can see from a priority order in terms of funding sources. We have a $9.661 million CIP program proposed to you this evening. 20% of it from grants, the same from H-tax, hospitality tax, and then you see general fund balance, debt service out of the TIF, which I explained at the first workshop, utility tax credits, which aren't a given, and I'll show you that, but we're applying for them. stormwater utility fees, municipal improvement development fees, to be determined. Land acquisition, I knew that was in there as an outlier. But Buckwalter Park Fund, so we have some funds out of our development agreement that are allocated to parks in Buckwalter. Local aid tax, CIP, boat ramp, and linear park fund, so you see that. So where does the money go? 31% to parks, 22.8, almost 23% to sewer projects, 18% to economic development, and that's our Buckwalter Place project, housing, pathways, roads, land, and facilities. A project map, and I think this is a healthy exercise to put this up on a map. You can see this, I can see this on my computer, but on this screen, and you can see a listing of 30 projects. So it goes really from Buckwalter Place Commerce Park all the way down to the New River Trail and the New River Barn site. But you can see that our projects are allocated throughout our town. So definitely historic district, and we know what those projects are. Buck Island, Simmonsville with sidewalks, lighting, public sewer, Buckwalter Place, New Riverside, and so I think that our projects proposed to you tonight out of strat plan shouldn't be any surprises to you, but they're well diversified throughout our community. So ongoing projects as we know them, and you can see this. I won't spend too much time on ongoing projects. You can see the proposed budget. You can see the project name, project notes, and a little different look this year. We're letting you know, we're letting the public know whether something is underway, whether it's complete, or when we're starting. And so we really break down our projects 3 different ways. Design, right? Planning and design. Permitting, easements, those types of things. So planning, design, permitting and easements, easement acquisition, and construction. So really 3 steps to a lot of steps, but 3 major steps to a CAP project. And you can see on the screen when we would start the progress, so whether we're complete, whether it's already started, or when we would start. So I wanted to make sure we clarified that for project. And I think that's important, especially when you start looking at Calhoun Street streetscape as an example. That shows up in the fiscal year 20. We've allocated some funds for it, but what are those funds for? The master planning is underway. Completion of design is planned for fiscal year 20. So you can see that first quarter, the planning and design will start. We can't start permitting until we truly have public input, mayor and council workshop, and so on and so forth. But hopefully this directs us and guides us as we implement the budget. More ongoing projects, straight down the screen. I'll let you look at them, but one example you can see, Wright Family Park. I know that's important, so we have a project budget. The notes say the project is in the construction phase. I should say the project, yeah, it's in the construction phase. Construction is anticipated to be complete by the fall of 19. So planning and design complete, permitting first quarter, construction first quarter. So you can see that. And I can go through each one, but you can also look at them. It's available. Not the first time we're hearing this. Here's an interesting one. Historic District Sewer Phase 1. You can see the project budget, and it's the Pritchard Street Sewer Extension, design permitting completed in 19, construction to be complete in fiscal year 20. So you see the budget, you see the schedule, you see the project notes that more or less explain the scope for fiscal year 20. New projects, so from project 21, and these show up on the map, from project 21 all the way down to project 30. So Bridge Street, streetscape, design, Veterans Memorial, design, construction, New Riverside Park, barn, design, somewhere, if we use this again, somewhere second quarter, probably earlier second quarter than later, we would have a big planning design kickoff out there. Park improvements, miscellaneous, Town of Bluffton housing project, as we talked about. We'll release the request for interest very soon. Town hall improvements, some miscellaneous things to still fix. Ulmer Auditorium, TCL, safety camera phase 5, which is just upgrading some switches so those cameras don't go down as much. And then New River Trail, just some miscellaneous maintenance, but it falls in the threshold of CIP. So what does all of that mean? What you have in front of you lays out each project that I just went over, so whether it's ongoing or new. It proposes to you the fiscal year proposed budget for 20 at 9.6 million. And then it also allocates how we're funding the project. So hospitality, local aid tax, what you see across the screen here is just a more project-specific, different look of where those funds, grants, H-tax, general fund are allocated.
Mark, the oops, that
Oh.
one. Grants up above it, you typed in red pending award.
Pending, yes.
Do we have it, we're just waiting for the money, or we're hoping we get it?
Hoping we get it. So we're going to make
Okay.
application, and that was the next
Okay,
point I was going to
sorry.
say. That's
Okay.
okay. So can I give you two answers? So we have the 320, we just didn't get the letter yet to start on the BIS sewer.
Okay,
But the 750 to the far top right under Buckwalter Place Multi-County Commerce Park, the 750, that's the maximum request we've asked for from Palmetto Electric in Hargray for utility tax credits at Buckwalter Place. So we don't know that answer yet.
Okay.
So to your point, Mayor, yes
some
and-
we
yes
know
and
we
no.
have, some we're asking for. Okay.
But you can see that we're asking for $1.75-ish million of grants. We've been successful with grants. You can see where we're asking for the projects. So BIS 5, I'd say, is an outlier, and you can see some of these other projects. Some of the bigger numbers is Wright Family, which we have, which is coming. I think that we know that, we're confident. Calhoun Street Dock, Tricia, that 250, that's not in our hand yet, though, but we've been.
They
we've
keep
been-
trying to come give it to us.
Yes, I think so. So a little bit of that. The major ones we are confident about, except for Buckwalter Place. So I can answer any questions on this sheet. This is your real fiscal year 20 proposed CIP budget. And again, a lot of these projects are ongoing, except those projects I showed you a slide earlier where we have some new projects. And so what's very helpful is in those project notes, it explains, it does a good job. Brian has done a really good job explaining what we're going to accomplish next year. I think in years past, I might have sped up a little bit, and we thought we were going to construct a project in a certain fiscal year, but we were only designing it. So the intent here is so that I'm completely above board, very open to what we're trying to accomplish next fiscal year, and also to let you know how we're spending those dollars on those ongoing projects. So consolidated budget, you see where CIP plugs in. It's the third down on the line under general and stormwater funds, and then of course debt service. We're here tonight at our second of 2 workshops. The next time we would see each other would be public hearing, second and final reading on the entire consolidated budget. Back up, answer questions.
Questions?
Yes. Can you go back to the land acquisition which was considered to be determined?
Yes.
The land, it doesn't say, I mean, it said to be determined, but is there any other project that could come out of that $500,000 beside land acquisition?
Fund balance,
Is it?
probably prior year fund balance. So savings from this fiscal year, we don't know what that total amount is yet. But I would simply come to you and say, hey, if there's an opportunity, whether somebody approaches us or we see a piece of property, I would come to you with a fund plan in place, and it would probably include prior year fund balance. And it depends on the project, right? If it's for housing, you can't use certain fund sources, right? You can't, a housing project would be funded differently than a park project. And so I think it would be funded differently than an economic development opportunity. So it could be a grant, right? We could realize that there's a grant out there and it was for economic development and we wanted to acquire some land with it. We just don't know that yet. So per your policy, we keep land acquisition in there. In years prior, I've always left it as TBD, but confident that we have some fund balance, whether to pay for in whole or in part of our acquisition. That's a separate account than everything else we're doing, including housing. You can see that up there.
Figured because
Yeah.
you didn't give it true destination. That's why.
Because I don't know why we're buying it yet, so I don't know how to put a funding source with it. When it's identified, fund balance, prior year, most of the time we use. We don't have to dig too deep. It's just, what did we not spend the prior year, which is what we've done. We might sell something. I don't know. We might sell a piece of land to buy another piece, which we've done. And that's why TBD makes sense for the CIP. And if we were to buy it, I would come to you all with a budget amendment to work with you to identify that fund source.
Help me, do we accumulate that year after year? I know we had talked about it, and we do. Okay, because I knew that was something you had brought up. Instead of use it or lose it, we accumulate it.
Your policy is very clear. I heard you, and rather than try to remember or guess what was said, we put it in writing. It's true public policy. It's in your budget ordinance and budget policy. It accumulates. But we've used it. We've been really good at buying land, strategically placed land over the last couple of years, especially with new Riverside, Wright family property and
Do we
and
have any
housing.
balance, or are we, if we spend it all?
We spent the full half.
Okay.
That help answer your question, sir?
Sir,
I just got one quick one, Mark. I should know, but I probably forgot. The utility tax credits, the $750,000
Sir?
for Buckwalter Place. What are we using that for? Or are we just asking for it to have in case we want to use it or need?
And again, this is,
I mean, just brief.
Yeah,
Just-
so
it'll come back to me. Maybe.
it would be used to take the property we currently own out there, the residual land that's north of the police station, and pretty much get it pad ready. I like to say job ready. So we would bring utilities, we could build out the parking lot, we could get those pads ready. There's about 50 to 60,000 square feet out there. If the Department of Commerce is listening, that would be great, for more jobs out there. And, you know, that's the size of Evacor's both buildings out there. And so the utility tax credits can only be used for certain things: purchasing land, applying utilities to the site, parking, some of that economic development related infrastructure. So we're asking for the grant. We've made the applications, and it would be really to stabilize our property out there and get those building pads ready in case somebody showed up in Bluffton and said, hey, I want to bring my business here.
So that would actually come straight to the town, and the county
Yes, sir.
would have Buckwalter Place. It would be the town's, or would it be
Our
part of
application.
Buckwalter Place until it was,
So the
until
grants,
2028, or whatever it is?
no, sir. No, so it would be the town. So it would be on our land owned outright by the town. So we acquired land both from the county and from the private developer. It would be applied on the land we own in Bluffton for Bluffton, but at the Commerce Park. Different than the multi-county industrial park funds, which are property tax based over time. This is a simple grant, kind of turnkey, simple use. And we've used them in the past. We have used utility tax credits out there
Oh, I know we
to
have.
build roads, water, sewer, stormwater, believe lighting. There's certain things it doesn't pay for. It won't pay for surveys, and it won't pay for things like that. It's true hard dollars for real infrastructure. It's paid for land acquisition. So the land that we own out there that we've acquired above and beyond our little postage stamp that we had about 6 years ago, utilization of utility tax credits for that. So we expanded our footprint out there quite heavily with those monies. I don't know that there's a lot more land to buy out there right now. I think we have enough, especially as we lay out a master plan, and we know you can fit 60,000 square feet there and still have overflow parking that would accommodate Evacor, TCL, Don Ryan Center, or St. Joe. There's an abundance of parking even at a pretty conservative ratio. So
And we can actually use those, can we use that grant to trade? Like if somebody wants to come and build something, that we can give them, I think we did something similar to that with some of the improvements as far as stormwater and all that, where we, for Southeastern. I mean, I'm just,
yeah, it's a hard
different.
yes or no. It depends.
Well, maybe if
There's a
we get
potential.
it, maybe a good idea is
Oh.
if we get it, let's
Right.
do a quick workshop on a council meeting to go over again what it can be used for.
Absolutely.
And that give you some time to get it all together.
And those grants will be known in the next couple months. And true to form, what we do is we put it on a quarterly workshop with you for CIP, and we come and talk to you about proposed use of funds, proposed layout, and how all that's going to work. So.
Else? Good. Any questions from the audience? Since this is a workshop, I should have asked that last week. Good. Okay. Well, we will be back for our final reading, June 11th, right?
And in public hearing.
This is streaming live Facebook, and then after that, does it archive and go to YouTube, all these meetings? Great. Okay. Thank y'all. Are we adjourned?
Is that it?
If you say so.
I had 10 more minutes.
Well, no. You may take the gavel, and you may sit here for 10 more minutes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming, Mark,
Second.
staff. Thank you. It's great. Poke your lip at her.
Thank you very much. and
It's
thank
her
you to all
last
of you.
budget. This will be her last.
I know, I cried for the last time.
I know.
We need a second
too.
on that agenda for adjournment.